नागालैंड स्टेट ते 50 साल ऊपर होया से नागा पॉलिटिकल इशू तो सबसे बियादे थकेगी ना नागा मनु आरो इंडियन मिलिट्री ला बितोर दे जमेला हुआ तो इतुला खिसा आरो भी वापस साइले पुइला नागा मनु खान किमान शांति आरो यूनिटी लागी थकिसे इत्या एकला ही नोय होइली भी नागा नेशनलिस्ट मूवमेंट ला एरा भी शुरू हुआ दिखी पाए पुइला नागालैंड दे खून आरो होप लगा इंटरप्ले दो निंगले क्रोमे ला स्पीच ते होनी पाइसे ताई फेक ते नर्चरिंग नागा पीपलहुड ला प्रोग्राम ते कोथा कुरिया हुमाय क्रोमे फोरम फॉर नागा रिकॉन्सिलिएशन ला मेंबर आसे और फॉर्मर नागा पीपल्स मूवमेंट फॉर ह्यूमन राइट्स ला सेक्रेटरी जनरल भी थकिसे क्रोमे पुइला सीज फायर ना आया आगे ते इंसर्जेंसी और इंडियन मिलिट्री ऑपरेशंस ला कोथा कुरिसे और ताइब्रा नागा पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स खान गे किनगा रेकॉन्साइल करबुले कोशिश करिसे इतो पर ही कइसे
I believe every single person sitting here are sitting with responsibilities in your own ways. All the earlier speakers have said what needs to be said. And as also mentioned, the divine revelation of Sisa Soho speaks all. I just want to change my thoughts into a little different perspective from what we've been saying all these years. Naga manu unite karo lage, reconcile karo lage. Every Naga Nation workers talk about reconciliation and unity. After all, if there's killing, they are the one to be doing the killing. If there's dying, they are the one who will be dying. But the worst of all, in between the Naga public, is the scapegoat. Will be caught in the crossfire. So how serious you are that you're really talking about unity and reconciliation. But I want to say, basing on my own experience, American human rights group come to NLCM from Nakurabara American Sulu. After emergency was declared all over India, Shillong Accord was imposed on the Naga people. And the Naga people were hunted like animals. Not in the jungles, but in the towns, in the villages. Pastors, reverends, school teachers, village chairmen, gamburas, they were the first target of Indian army. At that point in time, just here at the Bible here, Phek Bible here, Duita Chokara class 7 students, since the only road coming down to Phek town crosses through the Assam Protein, the 14th Assam Protein, they were beaten black and white, unconscious, made unconscious, cigarettes kindly shot into their nose and mouth. 2 students. For what? For talking English while crossing Assam Protein. And that is why Changsan Students Union have fought tooth and nail to remove the Assam Protein from Phek Bible Hill, which was also occupied, even though it is called Bible Hill. Okay, the nami ja aye dikibo. Reverend Palasa Tweke, he was buried alive. Matin Chir Kundigina Talaga Mission Church to Assam Protein Bangladesh. This morning, so we crossed. When we go back, so we'll cross. This is just only one story, but that was the time when we said the Naga story must be told to the Naga people. Women in Kohima town from Khmer village were being raped while going to the paddy fields. A young beauty queen in Okru was raped by 2 captains, 1 captain and 1 major, in front of her parents and her siblings. The next day she committed suicide, saying it's meaningless to live in this world. when you can be treated like this, your own parents cannot defend you. She went to the river, committed suicide. In that situation, kami Naga manukiman suffer. The rest of the world need to know, especially Indian public need to know now. Mekandi come Korea hatante. Finally, after so many years, when in 1997 ceasefire came, we talk among ourselves, but just a handful of people, just a small group of people, that we will tell the world how government of India is treating Nagas. Because no journalists were allowed to come to Nagaland. No reporters were allowed to write about what the Indian Army is doing in Nagaland. Newspapers were banned in Nagaland. The first newspaper called Citizen's Voice, weekly newspaper, which published about how Naga villages would burn, was banned by Nagaland government only, because they have to follow the dictate of the government of India. So our experience traveling through the horrors of Indian Army's atrocities. We have filed cases in the Supreme Court of India, in the Guwahati High Court, in the DC courts at Dimapur, Kohima, ADC courts, wherever it is, to record the atrocities of the Indian Army. In the midst of this, ceasefire came, hope for a peaceful solution came, but by then, Nagas were already divided. NCN was formed in 1980. An anti-Sri Lanka group of NNC was formed. Nevertheless, life went on. Life went on under the bullets of Indian Army, under the boots of Indian Army, and most of all, killings among the Nagas, after Nagas split into NSCN and NNC. So when ceasefire came, we thought we must make the most of this. This was long before FNR was formed. And so when ceasefire came in 1997, we were able to go to the United Nations for the first time. Earlier, government of India would never allow us. So in 1998, when we went to the United Nations to speak about the sufferings of the Naga people, coincidentally, Isaac and Moira came to Geneva to renew the ceasefire agreement on July 31. General Tenosilye also came to Geneva on his own to meet people in the UN, and perhaps, I don't know, with the hope to meet Isaac and Moira, I don't know. But I happened to meet all three of them. I asked them, why don't you take the opportunity to meet? They said, yes, but where can we meet? Rasta jalo corona pare. Tendisele ukod asa tada jawana pare. Asag mo ukod asa tendisele tada hiwana pare. I said, my hotel is free for you. 2 days, three of them met. And you know what? They met after 30 years. In 1967, under the leadership of Moiva and Tenosilye, Nagas went to China because the first round of ceasefire and political talks were going to bound to fail. Because Indira Gandhi says that nothing doing anything under the sun, but not sovereignty. And then they come and recounted those stories after 30 years in 1998. After 1967, they went. 1968, they came back. Tunisia more proceeded to East Pakistan, represent Bangladesh. They were caught up in the Indo-Bangladesh war. They were jailed in Dhaka. Isaac and Moira were in Eastern Nagaland, so-called Burma, now Myanmar, the military term. And they have never met. After 30 years, they met and they were sharing their stories. how they struggled to Burma, how they brought guns, bullets, and how many people died on the way, how many were drowned in Chingun River. They were smiling and chattering like children. How happy it was to see their face on the first day. Second day was to talk business. So Tinosuya told them, please come back to NNC. This is the Naga body, where the Naga movement started. We must come back to NNC. I said, Umaywa said, yes, who doesn't want to come back to NNC? We all love NNC. But because of circumstances, we are from NNC. We have registered our membership in UNPO as NNC. We have signed ceasefire with the government of India as NNC. Ito nimite, inagakinatan nam change ko. Wait for some time. Maybe the right time will come when God will enable us to come back to NNC. That was the reply. In the meantime, they asked Tinosuya to join them. Let us work together again. Like when we went to China. Let us work now, there's peace. You don't have to struggle like before. But they could not come to terms. On 31st July evening, Tinosuya walked over to the cafeteria of the United Nations UN where I was there. I said, Uncle, how did it go? With his head bowed down, he was murmuring to himself, if I join them, what will I tell my people? What will I tell my Angami friends and Chakasans, my supporters? The Naga public had enslaved him. He's a leader, he's a German general. But he could not take decision for what he thought was right. Today, even now, that situation is exactly the same. If there are 20 or 24 factions, it is the Naga public who has created. Because you want your own heroes. You have your own agendas. You want to settle the issue with your enemies or your opponents through the national worker leaders. I'm sure today, as they look at each other, if they remember the memories of working together, fighting the Indian army together, crawling in the jungles of Burma, I'm sure in their heart of heart, how they'll be loving each other. Rempuni is known for baptizing more than 100 persons in Burma in one day. Such achievements are rarely told or even heard. Slowly by slowly, all our leaders are going away. But the arrogance of the Naga public is becoming stronger and stronger. Today, when I hear that by former speakers, it's frightening. It's frightening. They are able to talk very big things. They are able to say brave words. But if the situation goes back to zero square, back to square one, how many people can walk their talk? For that matter, even me. Who am I to question the integrity of the Naga public? I'm also responsible in many ways because I hate some of the faction leaders. I love some of the faction leaders for my own selfish interest. That's why my perspective, as Hekami says in the morning, reflect. Every individual take a moment of reflection. This is the message I wanted to share today. In short, American national leaders can keep rising. Tahan kaya aro blame na kurabi. Niger kaya blame kurabi. If you want them to unite, you stop supporting them. They will unite. But they want to join each other. Nikki and whatever, if they said they will join Hebron today, you think Hamas will forgive them? You think Hamas will forgive them? When Isaac met Singya after 30 years in Chiang Mai, Isaac's wife is here. I was asked by Dr. Wati to go and facilitate the meeting. The moment they saw each other, started shouting, I will take it, whatever. Auntie Esther went on her knees to the ground, in the cemented ground, in the corridors of the hotel. In between them, American stop galti kurise. American stop galti kurise. How many women had the hearts to go and tell that in front of her husband, you were so wrong, he was also wrong. Stop it from there. How many women, mothers, or sisters, we talk and shout, we sing, but in action, how many of us are willing to walk the extra mile? We're talking about Naga situation, solution, sovereignty. I tell you, NSC was formed to remain, whatever, strong, saying that Piso is taking the Naga story to the United Nations. The UN, knowing fully well that Nagas are right, they are even afraid to intervene. In one occasion, in 2012, the UN was conducting an expert seminar on governments who have entered into agreements with struggling people, indigenous people like Nagas. And I was asked to come and present the Naga story. What kind of agreements Nagas have been going through with the government of India? So I went and cited 9-point agreement which government of India themselves backed out. 16-point agreement, and I say only thing visible in 16-point agreement is the underlying regulation, clause 16. Clause 17 is the so-called, 7 is the so-called 371A, which is argued back and forth. We're making chutney out of even those provisions. After that, they signed again Shillong Accord. Government of India never honored, even though in Nagas was been honored. Not a single agreement government of India has honored. And they've signed another ceasefire with the NSC. I told the UN, if you want to find that peace come to people in Northeast, and especially Nagas, please monitor what government of India is signing with the Naga people. They are going to backtrack even on this ceasefire agreement. Now you're talking about framework agreement, which is 26 years now. The government of India's situation is, they have options. And they say the most ideal option is to implement the framework agreement. But government of India has difficulties. So you must appreciate government of India's difficulties. So I replied in my own individual capacity to the government representative. Remember, Nagas have tried to be a gentleman in the past. But you are talking about government of India's difficulties. Nagas are going through a stage where every single Naga is waiting for the opportunity to call the others a traitor or a betrayer. So where do you think Naga leaders can go? Understand our difficulties as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and sorry for the extra time.